The travel cube shook violently as it exited the hyperspace tunnel. It did not glide smoothly like it usually did. It felt like the cube had hit a wall of water. The passengers inside stumbled and grabbed onto the walls for balance. Gohan held onto the unconscious body of Lord Champa to keep him from falling. Vardos stood next to them with her staff glowing. She was trying to keep a shield around Champa because he was still very weak from being drained by the Void Tower. Goku and Vegeta and Jiren and Hit stood near the front of the cube, looking out of the transparent walls. Their eyes were wide with shock. They had seen many strange things in their lives. They had seen gods and monsters and universes being erased, but they had never seen anything like this. They were not in a universe anymore. They were in the neutral zone between the universes. Usually, this place was empty and dark. It was just a void where nothing existed. But now, it was filled with light. It was a blinding golden light that was brighter than 1,000,000 suns. It was so bright that Goku had to shield his eyes with his arm. Vegeta squinted and tried to look through the glare. Jiren did not blink, but his pupils contracted until they were tiny black dots. The light was not just bright, it was heavy. It felt like gravity. It pressed down on their shoulders and made it hard to breathe. It felt like the air itself had turned into gold. In the center of this golden ocean floated the Super Dragon Balls. These were the giant planet-sized orbs that could grant any wish. But they did not look like planets today. They were glowing with an internal fire. The red stars inside them were pulsing like heartbeats. Thump, thump, thump. The sound of the heartbeat echoed through the vacuum of space. It vibrated the walls of the travel cube. It vibrated the bones of the warriors inside. And in the middle of the 7 Super Dragon Balls, there was a rift in reality. It was a tear in the fabric of existence. Out of this tear poured the golden light, and from the light a shape was forming. It was huge. It was bigger than the Super Dragon Balls. It was bigger than galaxies. It was a dragon, but it was not like Shenron or Porunga. It had golden scales that shone with every color of the rainbow. It had wings that spanned across light years. Its eyes were like 2 burning stars. This was Zalama, the dragon god, the creator of the Super Dragon Balls. The Grand Priest's voice came through the speaker in the cube. He sounded very serious. He told them to stay inside the cube. He said that the pressure of Zalama's presence would crush a mortal instantly. Even a god of destruction might struggle to stand in this presence. Gohan looked at Champa. The skinny cat god was groaning in his sleep. He was shivering. Even unconscious, he could feel the power of the dragon god. Gohan stepped forward to the front of the cube. He looked at the giant golden face of the dragon. He felt a strange sensation in his chest. It was not fear, it was awe. It was the feeling of seeing something ancient and perfect. He remembered Whis telling him about the hierarchy of the gods. The Kais create, the destroyers destroy, the angels guide, the Grand Priest oversees, and Zeno rules. But Zalama was different. Zalama was outside the hierarchy. He was the one who gave the power of miracles. The dragon opened its mouth. A voice echoed in their minds. It was not a spoken voice. It was a thought that was placed directly into their brains. The voice was old. It sounded like grinding stones and flowing water. It said that the balance was broken. It said that the void had touched the divine. It said that the experiment of the multiverse had failed. Goku looked confused. He asked what the dragon meant by failed. He said they just saved Universe 6. They beat the bad guys. They saved Champa. Why was the dragon angry? Whis appeared on the screen of the cube. He explained it to them. He said that Zalama is the guardian of the divine laws. The void energy that Kanba uses is a corruption. It is like a virus. When Kanba built the tower on planet Sadala, he infected the universe. Even though Gohan destroyed the tower, the infection was still there. It was in the soil. It was in the air. And because the Namekians of Universe 6 walked into the portal to summon Zalamar, they brought the infection to him. They woke him up to ask for help, but instead, they showed him how sick the world had become. Zalamar spoke again. He said that a gardener must prune the dead branches to save the tree. He said that Universe 6 was infected. He said that Universe 7 was the source of the resistance, but also the source of the chaos. He said that Universe 11 had failed to maintain order. He decided that it was safer to erase these universes and start over. He would create new universes that were immune to the void. Vegeta slammed his fist against the glass wall. He shouted that this was ridiculous. He shouted that they had fought and bled to save their worlds. He said they were not dead branches. They were alive and they were strong. He shouted at the dragon to come down and fight them if he wanted to erase them. Vados gasped. She told Vegeta to be quiet. She said that insulting Zalamar was a very bad idea. Zalamar could blink, and Vegeta would turn into nothing. But Vegeta did not care. He was a prince. He had just saved his student Kaba. He was not going to let a big gold lizard wipe out Kaba's planet just because of some rules. The giant golden eye of Zalamar turned toward the tiny travel cube. The dragon saw Vegeta, but he did not look angry. He looked indifferent. He looked like a human looking at an ant. He did not care about the ant's anger. Zalamar said that mortals always cling to existence. He said that struggle was their nature. He said that he would grant them a trial. He would test their worth. If they could prove that they had the strength to resist the ultimate void, then he would spare them. But if they failed the trial, he would erase them immediately. Gohan asked what the trial was. The golden light shifted. The dragon exhaled a cloud of golden mist. The mist swirled and formed shapes. It formed 5 figures. They were the same size as the warriors. They glowed with a metallic golden shine. They had no faces. They were blank mannequins made of divine energy. Zalamar said that these were the reflections of order. They were the perfect versions of warriors. They had no fear. They had no doubt. They had no weakness. To pass the trial, the mortals must defeat perfection. The doors of the travel cube opened. The golden light flooded in. It was warm, but heavy. Gohan stepped out first. He felt the gravity pushing him down. It felt like he was wearing a suit made of lead. He had to flare his Kai just to stand up straight. Goku stepped out next. Then Vegeta. Then Jiren. Then Hit. The 5 strongest warriors of the multiverse stood in the void facing the 5 golden avatars. Goku cracked his knuckles. He smiled a little bit. He said fighting perfection sounded like good training. He transformed immediately. He went straight to Super Saiyan Blue. He didn't want to waste time. Vegeta powered up to Super Saiyan Blue evolved. His royal blue aura clashed with the golden light. Jiren flared his red heat. Hit took his fighting stance. Gohan took a deep breath. He centered his mind. He called upon the beast. His hair turned silver and his eyes turned red. The 5 golden avatars moved at the same time. They were fast, faster than light. Goku's opponents attacked him with a flurry of punches. Goku blocked and dodged. He was shocked. The avatar was using his own moves. It was using the Kamehameha style. It was using the martial arts Goku learned from Roshi and King Kai. But it was doing it perfectly. There were no wasted movements. Every punch was exactly where it needed to be. Goku tried to counter, but the avatar was already blocking. It was like fighting a mirror that knew your next move. Vegeta shouted and fired a Gaelic gun at his opponent. The golden avatar raised one hand and slapped the purple beam away. Then the avatar fired its own blast. It was a golden version of the final flash. Vegeta had to cross his arms to block it. The impact sent him skidding backward through space. Vegeta growled. He hated this. He hated fighting something that looked like a mannequin. It was insulting. Hit was having the hardest time. He tried to use his time skip. He froze time for a split second. He moved to strike the avatar's heart, but the avatar moved inside the frozen time. It grabbed Hit's wrist. Hit's eyes went wide. How could it move? Time was stopped. Zalama's voice echoed in his head. He said that order exists outside of time. Time is just a measurement for mortals. The avatar punched Hit in the chest. Hit flew backward, coughing up blood. Jiren was locked in a test of strength. He had his hands locked with the avatar's hands. They were pushing against each other. Jiren's muscles were bulging. His veins were popping. He was using all his strength. But the golden avatar was not straining at all. It stood there calmly. It was like pushing against a wall that could not move. Jiren roared and pushed harder. The avatar just pushed back with equal force. It was a stalemate. Gohan was fighting the fifth avatar. This one was different. It did not use martial arts. It used energy weapons. It created a sword made of golden light. Gohan created a blade of his own using his destruction energy. Purple met gold. They clashed. Sparks flew everywhere. Gohan felt the weight of the avatar's attacks. It was heavy. Every strike felt like a planet crashing into him. Gohan analyzed his enemy. He saw that the avatar had no emotion. It was just a machine of judgment. It did not get angry. It did not get tired. It did not make mistakes. Gohan remembered Whis's training. Whis had taught him to empty his mind, to move without thinking. But Whis also taught him that emotion was a source of power if controlled. The avatar had order, but it lacked passion. Gohan decided to use that. He let his anger flow. Not the wild anger that made him lose control, but the focused anger. The anger he felt for what happened to Trunks' future. The anger he felt for Champa being tortured. He channeled that anger into his beast form. His aura grew larger. The red lightning became intense. Gohan shouted that perfection was boring. He said that life was messy, and that was what made it strong. He swung his energy blade with wild fury. He stopped trying to be perfect. He started being unpredictable. He switched from a sword strike to a kick, then a blast, then a headbutt. The golden avatar paused. It could not predict the chaos. Gohan landed a hit. His purple blade slashed the avatar's chest. Golden energy leaked out like blood. Gohan shouted to the others. He told them to stop trying to match the avatars. He told them to be unpredictable. He told them to use their flaws. Goku heard Gohan. He understood. He dropped his guard. He stopped trying to block perfectly. He let himself get hit. The avatar punched him in the face. Goku took the hit and used the momentum to spin around and kick the avatar in the back of the head. It worked. The avatar stumbled. Goku laughed. He said Gohan was right. Being messy was fun. Vegeta grunted. He said he did not like being messy, but he liked winning. He stopped firing precise blasts. He exploded his energy in every direction. He created a chaotic storm of destruction. The golden avatar could not dodge it all. It got hit by 10 blasts at once. It was pushed back. Hit changed his rhythm. Instead of skipping time forward, he skipped it backward. He confused the avatar. He struck from unexpected angles. He landed a blow to the throat. Jiren stopped pushing. He suddenly let go. The avatar fell forward because it was pushing so hard. Jiren used that moment to deliver a massive uppercut. The avatar flew up into the golden void. The 5 warriors rallied. They stood together. They combined their energies. Goku charged a Kamehameha. Vegeta charged a final flash. Gohan charged a Masenko. Jiren charged a power impact. Hit charged a time cannon. They fired at the same time. The 5 beams twisted together into one giant rainbow beam. It hit the 5 avatars and consumed them. The golden figures shattered into millions of pieces of light. They had passed the trial of combat. They were panting and tired, but they were still standing. Zalama watched them. The giant dragon nodded slowly. He said that they had proven their strength. They had shown that chaos could defeat order in battle, but strength was not enough. To defeat the void, they needed resolve. Zalama's eyes glowed brighter. The environment changed. The golden void disappeared. Suddenly, they were standing on a beautiful green planet. The sky was blue. The birds were singing. It looked like paradise. But then the sky turned black. A hole opened in the heavens. A black liquid poured out. It hit the ground and killed the grass. It turned the animals into shadow monsters. It ate the world. Zalama said, "This is the future. This is what Kamba brings. Even with your strength, you cannot punch a disease. You cannot blast a plague. To stop this, you must be willing to make the ultimate sacrifice." Zalama looked at Gohan. The dragon lowered his head until he was face to face with Gohan. The dragon's eye was bigger than Gohan's whole body. Zalama said, "You possess the energy of a destroyer and the training of an angel. You are the bridge between the mortals and the gods. I will offer you a choice. I can give you the power to erase Kamba. I can turn you into a true god of destruction, but the cost is your memory. To become the perfect vessel of destruction, you must fall. Forget your mortal attachments. You must forget your family. You must forget your daughter Pan. You must forget your wife Videl. You will become an eternal guardian of the multiverse, but you will no longer be Son Gohan." Gohan froze. The offer hung in the air. The power to save everyone. The power to end the threat of the void forever. All he had to do was give up his heart. He looked at his father. Goku was looking at him with wide eyes. Goku shook his head slowly. He didn't want Gohan to do it. He looked at Vegeta. Vegeta looked angry at the dragon for even asking. Gohan looked down at his hands. He remembered holding Pan when she was a baby. He remembered teaching her to fly. He remembered Videl's smile. Those memories were not just pictures in his head. They were the fuel for his fire. Without them, he would just be another golden avatar, perfect and empty. Gohan looked up at the dragon god. He looked him straight in the eye. He said no. Zalama narrowed his eyes. The pressure increased. He asked if Gohan was choosing his own happiness over the safety of the universe. He asked if Gohan was selfish. Gohan said, "It is not selfishness. It is the source of my power. I fight because I have things to protect. If I forget them, then I have no reason to fight. If I become a god without a heart, then I am no better than the void. The void eats everything until it is empty. If I give up my memories, I become empty too. I will defeat Kamba, but I will do it as Son Gohan. I will do it as a father and a husband and a son." Gohan flared his beast aura, but this time he pulled deep from his soul. He mixed his love for his family with his destruction energy. The violet aura changed. It developed streaks of pure white light. It was a new level of power. It was the power of a mortal who had transcended the gods through love. Zalama looked at Gohan for a long time. The silence was terrifying. Everyone held their breath. They thought the dragon might erase Gohan for refusing. Then surprisingly, the dragon laughed. It was a deep rumbling sound that shook the stars. Zalama said, "Interesting, very interesting. You reject perfection for humanity, and in doing so, you found a power that order cannot create. You have passed the second trial. The illusion of the dying planet vanished. They were back in the golden void. Zalamar said, "I will not erase your universes. I will not erase your memories. Instead, I will give you a gift. I cannot fight your battles for you. The balance forbids it, but I can repair what is broken." Zalamar looked at the Super Dragon Balls. They began to spin. He said, "I will restore the Namekians of Universe 6. I will cleanse the corruption from their souls. And I will give you this." A beam of light shot from the dragon's mouth. It hit Gohan in the chest. Gohan felt a burning sensation. He looked down. On his chest, over his heart, a symbol had appeared. It was the mark of the dragon god. It was a golden circle with a dragon inside it. Zalamar said, "This mark will protect your soul from the void. Kamba cannot eat your mind as long as you hold on to your humanity. Use it well." But the moment of victory was cut short. Suddenly, a tear appeared in the golden void. But this tear was not golden. It was pitch black. It looked like a wound in the universe. It was oozing black slime. A hand reached out of the tear. It was a massive hand. It was covered in black fur and red armor. It was the hand of Kanba. But he was huge. He had used the energy he stole from Champa to grow to a cosmic size. Kanba's voice roared through the dimension. He said, "Zalamar, you old fool. You sit here judging while I feast." Kanba's hand grabbed one of the Super Dragon Balls. The giant orange orb looked small in his grasp. Kanba squeezed. The Dragon Ball started to crack. He was trying to crush it. He wanted to absorb the infinite magic of the dragon. Zalamar roared in anger. The dragon god breathed a stream of golden fire at Kanba. But Kanba held up his other hand. A wall of void energy blocked the fire. Kanba laughed. He said, "Your order is weak against my chaos. I will eat your balls. I will eat your wish power. I will become the genie of the void." Gohan saw what was happening. If Kanba ate a Super Dragon Ball, he would become invincible. He would have the power to wish for the erasure of everything instantly. Gohan shouted, "We have to stop him." Goku and Vegeta and Jiren and Hit flew into action. They flew toward the giant hand of Kanba. They were tiny dots compared to him. They fired their strongest blasts at his fingers. Goku fired a Kamehameha at the thumb. Vegeta fired a Gamma Burst Flash at the index finger. Jiren fired a Heat Magnetron at the palm. Hit tried to freeze the hand in time, but Kanba just ignored them. His skin was too thick. The void energy protected him like armor. He continued to squeeze the Dragon Ball. The cracks got bigger. The red stars inside flickered. Zalamar was preparing a massive attack, but he was slow. He was a cosmic entity, not a fighter. He needed time to charge. Gohan looked at the mark on his chest. He felt the warmth of the dragon god's blessing. He looked at Kanba. He knew that regular energy wouldn't work. He needed to cut the hand off. Gohan closed his eyes. He focused on the energy of destruction. He remembered Whis telling him to visualize the erasure, to see the target gone before he even attacked. Gohan flew up. He flew higher than the others. He positioned himself above Kanba's wrist. He raised his hand high. He formed a disc of energy. It was the Destructo disc, but it was purple and white. It was thin as a razor. It vibrated with the sound of 1,000 bells. Gohan shouted, "Destructo disc! Hakai!" He threw the disc. It spun through the void. It grew larger as it flew. It became a giant spinning saw blade of destruction. It hit Kanba's wrist. It sliced through the void armor. It sliced through the black fur. It sliced through the bone. Kanba screamed. It was a scream that shattered reality. His giant hand was severed. It let go of the Super Dragon Ball. The hand floated away into the void, dissolving into black smoke. The Super Dragon Ball was safe. It floated back into place. The cracks on it began to heal thanks to Zalamar's magic. Kamba pulled his arm back into the tear. He glared at Gohan with his giant red eyes. He looked hateful. Kamba shouted, "Son Gohan, you again. You are a fly that refuses to be swatted. I will remember this. I will retreat for now. But when I return, I will bring the end of days." The black tear closed. The void energy vanished. The golden light returned. Zalamar looked down at Gohan. The dragon looked impressed. He said, "You have saved a piece of my soul. You have defended the miracle." Zalamar lowered his head again. He breathed on the group. Their fatigue vanished. Their wounds healed. Their energy was restored to full. Zalamar said, "Go now. The war is not over. Kamba has retreated to the deep void. He will use the energy he stole to build a final army. You must prepare. You must become stronger." The golden light began to fade. The super dragon balls scattered. They flew off into the universe to hide themselves until they were needed again. The travel cube appeared around them. They were back inside. Champa was awake now. He was looking out the window with his mouth open. He had seen the whole thing. Champa said that was Zalamar, and you saved his ball. You sliced Kamba. Champa looked at Gohan. He swallowed hard. He said, "Kid, remind me never to make you angry." Gohan sat down on the floor of the cube. He was exhausted, not physically but mentally. He touched the golden mark on his chest. It was warm. Goku sat next to him. He put his arm around Gohan's shoulder. He said, "I'm proud of you, son. You made the right choice. You kept your heart." Vegeta stood by the window looking at the stars. He said, "The boy has guts. I will give him that." Jiren was meditating in the corner. He opened one eye. He looked at Gohan. He nodded respectfully. He had learned something today too. He learned that strength was not just about solitude. It was about connection. The Grand Priest's voice came over the speaker. He said, "Return to the palace. We have much to discuss. The final battle approaches, and we have a new ally." Gohan looked out at the universe passing by. He knew the hardest fight was still ahead. Kanba was wounded and angry. He would come back with everything he had. But Gohan was ready. He had his family. He had his friends. And now he had the blessing of the Dragon God. He closed his eyes and rested. He dreamed of a quiet dinner with Videl and Pan. That was his paradise, and he would fight through hell to keep it safe. The episode ended with a shot of the deep void. Kamba was sitting on a throne of black bones. He was holding his stump where his hand used to be. The stump was bubbling and regrowing, but it was growing back as a claw made of pure crystal. He smiled a wicked smile. Behind him, thousands of red eyes opened in the darkness. Kamba whispered, "Let them come. The dinner bell has rung." Stay tuned for the next episode. The final training arc begins. The secret of the crystal void.